Good morning, everyone. This is Gail Dudley with your news in motion. Today is Wednesday. It's hump day, y'all. April the 14th, 2021. How are you all? And I want you to come on in the room, people. Come on in the room. Let's talk about what's happening on today. I see y'all coming up in here. I see y'all coming up in here. How are you on this morning? What is happening? How are you doing? I see you, Pastor Alex and Marion Jackson. I see you, Stephanie Burbridge. Hi, I see you, Lori Williams Wallace. I see you, Gracie. I see you. I see all of y'all this morning. How are you on this, let's see, Wednesday morning? I'm trying to figure out what day it is, y'all, on this Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday workshop today, so thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for coming in here. I'm just so excited. I'm a little giddy this morning because we're doing something this morning, and I'm just so excited about it. I can't tell you. Hi, Julie, Bryce. What's up, girl? Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning, Regina. Good morning, Hester. Donita. Good morning, Deborah Johnson. Good morning to all of you. Good morning to all of you. We know we have a few people as hanging out over there at OSU East getting their second shot. So good morning to all of you as well. I know Stephanie Burbridge Hall is over there. I know Demia Candye is over there. Y'all roll up those sleeves and be in the number getting that second shot. Good morning, Peggy Orr. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone on the YouTube live as well. Good morning to each one of you. Good morning, Kim Edmondson. How are you this morning? Y'all are coming up in here. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Y'all, we have something so exciting today that I can't wait to share with you. Good morning, Ivana Turner. Good morning, Pastor Antoinette. Good morning, Pastor Annette. Good morning, Deborah Sneed. Y'all are coming on in here. Good morning, Kenya Noel. Good morning. All right, y'all, we have a lot of news to cover today, and I have something so exciting to share with you. That's why I'm a little giddy. The girls, I can see, I have 5 screens up, and I can see the girls saying, well, you calm down, but I can't. Good morning. Well, Kenya, you getting your shot too this morning? You on the second shot thread too? Let me know if you're on the second shot thread, girl. Come on in the room, people. Come on in the room. Good morning, Adrian. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, Kim Kills. How are you this morning in North Carolina? What's up? I know Hester's in North Carolina. Yeah, we are really all over the place when it comes to news and motion. We are really all over the place, and it's pretty exciting. So can you let me know if you're getting your second shot too? Y'all talking about y'all deep up in there. I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. Hopefully one day soon we'll be going back to things that are normal. And I'm just so excited about that. She says, I'm trying to see what you're saying, Kenya. The News in Motion ladies and New Salem ladies are deep in here today. All right now, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Second shot. She goes, second. I'm gonna put that up there just so y'all can see what she's saying. She's like, second shot, baby. All right, y'all. All right, with y'all's second shot. And I think all of y'all are Pfizer as well. I was a Pfizer baby too. Yes, I am, or was, or whatever you want to call it. Good morning to my brother, Louis Pryor. All right, y'all. Y'all know what we do. It's time for some news. It's time to get the news in here, to see what's happening, to see what we need to do what we do. So, y'all, just take a moment, y'all. Let's do the intro. Let's go. So let's get started. Let's look at what is happening with these protests. And y'all, they are intensifying, they are increasing. And it's somewhat of, how do I want to say this? It's something that I really hope that we pray for those who are protesting. There was over 1,000 people in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis on last evening. It's intensifying. It's intensifying. The police officer, as well as the chief of police, resigned on yesterday. The city manager was fired as well. Here's a notice that I want to read to all of you. And this is serious. This is serious. I love it, Jossie. I love the intro. Well, thank you. We put a lot of work into that, believe it or not. And we still want to do some voiceover and things like that. But thank you for sharing that. Here's a notice I want to read a direct quote. It's from Keno Eval's Twitter. It says, Black organizers who plan to be protesting, we have gas masks available. You can go to 3737 Minnehaha Avenue South, Minneapolis to pick it up by 4 p.m. So they're preparing people. They are preparing people. And I'm looking for LeTreese Jones. So hopefully LeTreese Jones will jump on here in a second, because we want to talk about this month, if you're unaware, is Autism Awareness Month. And with so much going on, we need to be mindful of what's happening. So y'all, being that it's Autism Awareness Month, I have a question. And again, I'm going to pause and give you an opportunity to respond to this question. And then trust me, I'm going to tie it back into the protests, into the shootings, into the killings, and everything that's happening. So with that said, and I'm looking for LeTreese. Well, for that said, I want to go into a conversation and a question for all of you. And the question is this: do you know someone with autism? If so, who is it? And do you have a support group? Do you know someone with autism? And if you do, who is it? And do you have a support group? Do you have a support group? So take a few moments, and I'm gonna try to find out where LeTreese is, because we want to share something with you today. We want to share something that is serious. LeTreese, I just sent you a new link if you're on, so you can see that. I want to read some of y'all's answers. So y'all probably saying, Gail's going a little slow today. It's okay, because this is important. Kenya says, yes, I do. I know several folks, and have a lot of them have a support group. I see you, LeTreese. Diane Ladybug says, I am a program manager for Goodwill and work with a number of individuals with autism. Julie Bryce says, yes, my niece. Yes, I have a very strong support group. Peggy says, yes, I do. My little cousin, Adoniah, he's 4. I babysit him. Yvonne says, I have nieces and nephews with autism, and I'm not aware of any support group. Okay, we're going to make sure you find out some. Kim Edmonds says, yes, I know multiple people with autism. They are a gift of God. They are, and they are. Mike Nicholson says, I work with various autism groups. Wow, y'all. Lori says, my godson. So many of us can answer that. Pastor Antoinette talks about, yeah. So let me tell you where we're going with this. I shared with you the group, and I wanted to give you the group name, and hear me. The group name is called the Black Table Arts Cooperative. And they say, if you do come by and pick up gas masks, they were asking you to please return them so that next people can get them as well. And they're saying justice for Dante Wright, along with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and many others. And when I was reading their notice and went into looking at an article, they were talking about even young Black men and young Black women, or Black boys and Black girls, who have autism, and parents are saying they're afraid of the police if they're not having an understanding of what's going on. So there's my connection. And no, Dante Wright, from what we know, is not that he has autism, but it's just interesting to me that here we are again, that we even have groups who are going to supply the gas masks because they want to see justice. They want to see something done. And I'm bringing in a special guest today, LeTreese Jones. LeTreese Jones has, so y'all know I'm Team Isaac. So LeTreese Jones is coming in here. So let's see. I'm so excited to hear from her today. And there she is. Good morning, LeTreese.
Good morning, Gail.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. My apologies for the link that I sent, but I'm glad it came through okay.
Yes.
So I want to start asking some questions if I can. You heard some of the answers as people were coming in and they were answering the question for today. And this being Wednesday workshop, I really wanted to hone in on this, especially with everything that's going on. So my first question for you today is, in light of what's going on and knowing that there are concerned parents who have children who are experiencing autism and they're living a life of autism. How does that feel for you and your husband, knowing that you have a son that is an amazing, brilliant young Black male, knowing what's going on today? So that's where we're going to start. I know that's kind of heavy, but can we start there?
Yeah, so we've always known once we got the diagnosis that life for us and life for him was going to be different. And so when we see these things that are happening in the news today, it's heartbreaking, but it brings us back to our awareness and what we do and why we do it. And so our family has always known that at any given time, as much as we want Isaac to embrace his independence and as much as we want to allow him to flow in that, our reality is that we can't necessarily allow him to be out in the community by himself. And so his brother is a phenomenal advocate for him, takes his role and his job very seriously. Um, and us as well, we are always with him when he's in the community, just because his mannerisms, his communication is not such that if he was approached by a law enforcement officer or even just any regular person, they may not be able to discern or understand what he was trying to communicate. And so that's just our reality, and it's hard not just for us but for others that are in the autism community.
Okay. Wow. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Um, you and I talked yesterday as we were putting together these questions. So I want to start off with this question. And hopefully everyone who's tuning in, and y'all, please hit the share button. Please hit the share button. If everyone who's currently viewing this, I think there's like 38 people on here. If everyone who's viewing this can hit the share button, we can get this word out more, because I believe you're going to glean so much from LeTreese Jones on this morning. So my first question is, when did you think something was going on with your son, and what did you do?
So it was just after Isaac had gotten his 18-month vaccination, and we noticed a decline in his speech. He had, started saying all of the mama, dada, all of those things, and his speech started declining. And so we knew it was very, at that time, Tony Braxton was very active with Autism Speaks. And so the signs of autism were out there. And I started paying attention, and I realized that he was not talking as much. And that's when, and he was actually 2. He was 2 years old. He was getting ready to turn 2, but it was after that 18-month diagnosis or appointment that I started paying real close attention and watching and seeing that some of the signs that were out there he was displaying, like he wasn't responding to his name, and his speech had regressed. And so that's when I was like, okay, we need to get with his doctor and see what's going on.
Wow. Okay. Thank you again. Thank you for your vulnerability to share all of this today
It's my
and agreeing
pleasure.
to come on here. Again, this is April. This is Autism Awareness Month. And I thought today was a good day to bring LeTreese Jones on, especially in light of everything that's going on. So, that coupled with the autism community, I think so many of us need to pause and listen and learn
Yeah.
so that we know how to respond. Um, what did you do when you first received the diagnosis?
I was actually relieved because we weren't sure what was going on. And I remember praying about it and saying, Lord, if I could just find out what's going on with him, then I'll know how to move. If I know what it is, I'll know how to treat it and what to do. And so when we got the diagnosis and they said, yes, he is on the autism spectrum, then I was like, okay, now let's go. I went in the go mood. Like, okay, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And bless my husband's heart. He was just like, what? No. And so, it affected us differently. But
Okay.
as soon as we got the diagnosis, it was like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. I know what's going on. We know what's going on now.
Okay. Okay. Um, I know you have an older son, Isaiah, whom we all love just as much as we love Isaac. What is that relationship like? And I know, but I want you to share it with the world. What is that relationship like between the two brothers?
They are like peas in a pod, literally. They're 2 years apart. And so when they were younger, Isaiah is very for a little boy at 4 years old, he
Mhm.
realized that his brother was different. And so we had them in the childhood league. They used to be across from Nationwide Children's, but they work with kids who have disabilities. And he would leave his room during the day. His teachers would call it. It was so cute. He would leave his room and go two doors down and go check on his brother throughout the day at 4, because he realized that his brother was a little different from the other kids, and he was
Mhm.
looking out for him. So from early on, that's how he's been. He gladly embraces the role and title of protector, not just of him but of his older sister as well. But he is very, very much a protector, and Isaac loves his big brother and looks up to him. And so they're just literally peas in a pod, the dynamic duo. That's what they have called themselves.
I love it. I love when I see them together personally. I do.
Hmm.
What do you want people to know about your son Isaac? What would you want people to know? And I asked that question. You said I can ask you whatever I want to or say whatever I want to. So I'm going here. I can recall, and y'all, this is true. Y'all know I still have a fight in me. I can recall the two of us meeting. I don't even know where we were meeting. We ended up in the parking lot off at Easton, and I was ready to get in your car to go find somebody and fight. Like, what? No, we're not doing this. So what do you want people to understand and know? And how can people start thinking differently and have more patience and not jump to,
Right.
quiet your son or do this or do that? Can you talk about that a little bit? And you said I could ask, so I'm asking.
So yeah, it's one of those things where you have to know. And I saw Kim. I can't see her comment, but I saw Kim and I see Kenya's picture pop up. And so when you know someone who has a person with autism in their family, so first of all, I want to say I want people to know that he has autism. He's not autistic. I absolutely despise that word because it's a descriptive word. And it
Mm,
we have what's called people first language, that everyone in the community with disabilities has moved to, and it really puts the person first when you're talking about them. So you don't say I'm diabetic, you say a person that has diabetes, because when you use
mhm.
that adjective, you're using that to describe the person. And my son is so much more than his diagnosis. So I try not to, I don't jump all down people's throats like, no, don't say that. But I try to educate. And so I'd like people to know that he has autism. He's not autistic. He is very much a worshiper. Anybody that knows him knows he's a worshiper. He loves God. Um, but he I think that he's coming to the realization that he is a little bit different, which is hard for us because
Mhm.
we're trying to process, like, how do we treat him, with him, beginning to understand that. And we also want to make sure that people understand that for us, I can only speak for us. We invite people and we want people to talk to us about it. If there's something that you're not sure about or don't understand, please ask, because we like to educate our family, our sphere of influence. The worst thing that can happen is that you assume and then you do something to someone that's offensive. I am a little more open than my husband, bless his heart. He I love that man. He is very protective of his son, and he will write a person off in a minute like, okay, I got time for that. So yeah, that fight you were talking about, that was a rough one.
I know for many Fridays, you used to travel with your son Isaac to Children's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like for you each Friday morning? I loved all your feedback on Facebook, but I'm just, just wanting to the world, whoever's tuning into this, to know what that's like. So can you talk a little bit about that when it came to his speech and his meetings on Friday?
Yes, so there's a lot of things that children on the spectrum deal with. So one of them is they have a deficiency in their speech or their communication. They will deal with a lot of repetitive behavior. So they'll do things over and over and over again. And then the last one is their social interaction. So those are the three characteristics of a person with autism, and it can be anywhere on the spectrum as far as where it falls. And so he had a speech deficiency, and we, along with the speech therapy he received in school, we were able to, thank God, get him speech outside of that. So every Friday, he gets half an hour. He used to be on Fridays, now it's Wednesdays. He would get a half an hour of speech therapy. We'd have to get up and go at 8:30 or 8 in the morning. He's done at 8:30. And so it created a whole lot of things, because once he was in middle school, that cut into his day. So now he's accumulating absences. Of course, they were excused, but he's missing part of his day. So it's a lot that, goes into that, but that's what you sign up for. We have these shirts that say Autism Mom and Autism Dad. And it really is a life all in itself. You have to take on these therapies, and you have to be, like you said, when we started out, be aware of your child in the community. You have to be aware of people that are ignorant and don't know all of these things, and be willing to educate them or deal with the consequences if they don't, or if they're not open to it. So it's really, it can be a lonely place. I know someone said they didn't know about support groups.
Support group.
Yeah, it can be a lonely place, but it doesn't have to be. And what I've seen, unfortunately, in our community, the African American community, is that we don't reach out for assistance or to talk to people. We don't like to, and we suffer in silence. And that's one thing that we want to try to get out there, is that you don't have to suffer in silence.
Do you think that comes from a place of embarrassment, or a place of because of the labels? And I don't know if
Mm-hmm. All of that. I think it's all of that. I think it's embarrassment. I think it's ignorance, for lack of not knowing what's going on. If we think back, a lot of our maybe some of our older uncles or great uncles, maybe back in the day, if you think about it, they were just a little different, and they stayed with grandma or great grandma all their lives. They never moved out. Maybe that person, I'm not saying they were, but maybe that person had autism. But it's just one of those things where your family keeps those, what happens in our house stays in our house, and we don't talk about that outside. And that is so debilitating for us in our community. I also think that it's a lack of trust. We don't participate in a lot of the studies. So oftentimes our kids don't get diagnosed as quickly as other ethnic groups. And so it's a challenge all around on so many levels, Gail.
Wow. Before I let you go, I do have one more question.
Yes.
For that person who they're starting to see, you were saying an 18-month vaccination, then 2 years old for the diagnosis. For that family, that parent, that mom, that dad, the grandparents, whomever, when they start to see things, how can they begin to approach the conversation? If you have any suggestions, or what do they need to do to say, okay, there's something going on, let's look into this? How would you encourage them?
I definitely encourage them to talk to their pediatrician. So we started out with our pediatrician, let them know their concerns. If they're not, so when we went to our pediatrician initially, she kind of brushed me off, and I came right back and I told her, I said, listen, this is what I believe is going on. I'm pretty sure either you're going to give me the referral so I can get a diagnosis or find out, or I'm going to get another doctor. Now, you know me. I didn't have a problem saying that, but I know some people are a little more timid. So if you're not comfortable talking to your pediatrician, or if your pediatrician dismisses your concerns, then definitely reach out to someone in your community. If you don't have that person, or if someone you know doesn't have that person, send them to me. Now I'm gonna say, because I don't mind talking to
Mhm.
people. I do it a lot. Kenya, people have referred, folks to me. I will not push on. I'm not going to push on anybody. So
Okay.
if they want to talk to me, I'm definitely open. But I will not, because I have to try to meet people where they are. And sometimes folks just aren't ready to hear the truth, Gail. Honestly, it's a
Okay.
very scary thing. It's challenging, but yeah, talk to your
Wow.
pediatrician. Reach out to family and friends, and know that Mr. Jones and I are here as well. The men
Okay.
need that. They have an outlet. He'll talk to the guys, because sometimes it's hard for. It's different for the fathers. It's different for the
Okay.
fathers.
Wow, we could go on and on. I'm gonna have to have you on
Yeah.
my podcast so we can
Yes.
finish this
Yes.
conversation.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
how can we? I just lied. I said last question, but no, I have one more. How can we, the News in Motion family, pray for you and Fred and Isaiah and Misha and Isaac? See, Misha, I did remember you today. So, go ahead.
Um. Just pray for our continued that we continue to see God in this endeavor. We just want to do God's will in it, and that we're open to seeing what God has for us and the way that we're going. Isaac is 16. He's a freshman. So it's high school. We'll be getting ready for him to graduate. And he's already said he wants to go to college. So pray for my strength. that I
We
can
will
deal with that.
We will definitely be praying for you. Thank you so much. I know you have a busy day, but thank you so much to
Anything.
jump on here, because I think people need to hear what you just shared, even in light of everything that's going on right now all around us. Because I don't believe that there's a disconnect when it comes to these differences of people. I think there's a connection. I think we need more information. You also have an autism awareness nonprofit that you're getting ready to launch. Do you know a launch date for that? And if so, if there's a number where people can contact you, maybe we don't want your number on here, but if there's any way you can give us some information so we can get it back out to the News in Motion family.
Yeah, so there's a page called it's called the Effect Institute. If you want to go to that page, we can take messages there. There's not a phone number with that, but we have our name. We are registered with the state of Ohio. We are not completely. We work under the umbrella of other nonprofits. So if you want to reach out to that, if you have questions, if you feel safer or more comfortable there, just go to that page on Facebook. It's called the Effect, AFFECT Institute. Leave a message there, and then we'll definitely see that and get back to you. Or you can message me privately on Facebook as well.
Great. Thank you. Well, have a great day, sis, and I'll see you
You
later.
too. All
Mwah.
right.
All right, everyone. I think she was saying bye, but then I had already moved on. My apologies, y'all. Here's the coronavirus numbers, and we just want to continue to pray for LeTreese Jones and Fred Jones and all that they're doing. So let's keep lifting them up. Their sons, Isaac and Isaiah, and their daughter, Misha. So here are the coronavirus numbers. Confirmed cases, 32,070,777. Remember, I go to the World Health Organization. Deaths, we have 577,179. Again, deaths, 577,179. Recovered, we have 24,626,410. Again, recovered, we have 24,626,410. Mary Jenkins isn't on here today to record the numbers, so hopefully someone picked those up. And if you want to grab them again, confirmed cases are 32,070,775. Deaths, 577,179. And recovered, 24,626,410. Y'all, hospitals in Michigan are near capacity because the numbers are rising. Again, the numbers are rising. The U.S. on Tuesday recommended a pause. As you all know, we talked about this briefly yesterday, in the use of the single-dose vaccine Johnson & Johnson. They're investigating a rare but potentially dangerous blood clots. The White House has maintained that the pause will not derail the administration's vaccination goals. And Pfizer announced on Tuesday afternoon that it would boost production to deliver 10% more doses than had previously promised. Y'all get this, OSHA. OSHA's not playing. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They have issued $163,000 fine against Massachusetts taxpayer that allegedly prohibits employees from wearing masks at work in the midst of this pandemic. The OSHA representative said in a statement that the owner of the tax service, Ariana Mirio Rosario, say that real fast, demonstrated a willful refusal to implement basic safeguards to protect employees from the coronavirus. In a phone call, here's her direct quote, y'all. She says, yes, that is true. I believe that the masks are a deadly health hazard and should be banned out of this country. She also went ahead to say that she forbade the customers from wearing them in her office. If they wore them, she politely asked them to leave. So there's that. All right, y'all, for the win, for the win, for the win. So you had LeTreese Jones on here talking about autism and her son, Isaac. Well, for the win is Fred Jones. Fred Jones is Isaac's father, LeTreese Jones' husband. Fred Jones gets the win today. He is a father, husband, friend, community advocate, mentor, and one who builds up others. He's an encourager. I learned on yesterday that he loves to do yard work, landscaping, and all of that. He shares his life with others. He speaks truth always, and he is a marriage advocate. That's who he is. He is a strong Black man. He's a Christian man, and he's always trying to do things for other people. So with everything else that's going on in his life, he always steps up. He always encourages. So y'all, we want to just give a win and a shout out to Mr. Fred Jones. Fred Jones gets the win today. So we want to just congratulate him, and again to pray for he and LeTreese and their family, and just continue to encourage them and continue to be mindful of the information she shared, because we never know. We never know. We don't walk up to people and they're wearing a t-shirt that says autism necessarily. So we need to just be aware and not be quick to judge. So that's my inspirational message for today. My inspirational message for today is let's stop judging people. Let's stop judging people. We don't know what anyone has going on in their lives. We don't know their agenda for the day. We don't know the weight that they carry. We don't know the struggles they face. We don't know the victories they have had. We don't know. I'm begging everyone, let's lay off of judgment. Let's lay off of judgment. We see people, maybe they just had a bad day. Yesterday, we talked about soul care, and I walked you through steps to soul care. And if you want the complete steps, it will be on the podcast this Friday, because so many of you called in or DM'd me saying, I want more of that. I actually do a whole teaching on that. And maybe it's time for me to do another group on that where, we're not doing the retreats that we used to do, not right now anyway, but maybe it'll be a good time to do some sort of Zoom to walk people through that, so that we can really deal with our soul care. But when it comes to judgment, y'all heard me say we need to stop judging people. I'm going to go a step further. Stop judging yourself. Stop walking around in guilt and shame because of whatever judgment you have against yourself. The goal is to get to the root of that judgment, to get to the root of that guilt and shame, and find out why you are doing and saying some of the things that you are doing and saying. I really want you to dig deep. I think it's so important that we begin to do our own self-evaluation to get to the root of what it is that we do. The first thing that we should do when we're dealing with guilt and shame or judgment or wounds or rejection or pain The first thing we do, and again, this comes from my spiritual formation from National Theological Seminary. Look, I better learn something. It was a whole lot of money. The first thing that they tell us to do is that we must admit that something is wrong. Admit that something is wrong. Once you can admit there's something wrong, there's something not lining up with me, there's something that I'm struggling with, the moment that we can admit that there's something that's wrong, that's when we can begin to fix it. That's when things can begin to change. That's when we can look at soul care differently. That's when we can begin to look at judgment differently. So there's 6 areas, but I'm just giving you that one today, to admit that there's something wrong. The moment you do that, you know when you're frustrated, you know when you're edgy, you know when you are quick to fly off the handle, you know when you're depressed, you know when you don't want to talk to somebody and you know that's not the same. You know when you're in a judgmental state, judging other people regularly, you know those things. So I'm asking you to pause those things, if you will, and just take time to be healed. You know, God has healing waters. And I believe it's somewhere, and I know I'm going over, but I have to go here. I believe it's somewhere in 2 Kings. I believe it's 2 Kings chapter 2, right around the 19th verse, where the men, they go to Elijah and they talk about this land is situated in a great place, but the water is bad and the people are unproductive. The water is bad and the land is unproductive, but the land is situated in a good place. So Elijah tells him to bring him a bowl of water, and then he takes some salt and he throws the salt in the bowl of water. And when he throws the salt in the bowl of water, he takes it and he throws it into the land, into the water, and then everything becomes clean. And then everything becomes what? Healed and productive. Y'all, I want to tell you, throw some salt on your wounds. I know you're saying, but throwing salt on a wound hurt. No, throwing salt on the wound heals. That's how you get to the root of it. So when you find yourself unproductive, you begin to become productive because you've dealt with the wounds. I think I just said something, y'all. Yeah, I believe it is 2 Kings. So if you want to be healed, let's start with to stop our judgment, because here it is. When we are judging others, including ourselves, we are speaking death. We are being negative. We are planting seeds that comes right back around to get to us. So throw some salt on it and begin to experience healing and begin to experience the place where you can now become productive. So here's a question. If you have found yourself being unproductive lately, ask yourself why. Why have I been unproductive? Maybe it's because you're dealing with some stuff that you keep pressing down and you refuse to do something about it. You're situated in the right place, but there's some healing that needs to take place. So you throw some salt on it, you become healed, you become well, and then you find that you're back being productive. All right, y'all, y'all know what I say. Stay well. And remember, make some moves.